very warm welcome to our Honorable uh, Professor, Reverend Father Dr. Joseph. And we have a little technical difficulty with our commentator who's going to do the compare. But I think her laptop crashed at the last minute. So I'm just taking over. And uh, let's commence with Father Arun doing the opening remarks and welcoming our speaker of the day in continuation with the Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara lecture series. Today, we have the topic that is contributions of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara's contributions towards the field of education and for social transformation. So we have a very eminent speaker who is our very own research director and our personal officer, and also who is a professor in mathematics, is an avid researcher. And all the PhD scholars who are on the YouTube live will know Father very well because Father has been taking the coursework very rigorously. So over to Father Arun, who's our academic coordinator, who've been with us and guiding us with all the academics. So Father Arun, over to you for the opening remarks.
Reverend Dr. Father Joseph, Dr. Daisy ma'am, faculty members, and my dear students. If a person of the 19th century is gratefully remembered in the 20th century, he has created 20th and 21st centuries in the 19th century itself. Such people are called creators of ages, quoted by Dr. Sukumar Arikode, a very popular orator, writer, and author from Kerala. And I'm very confident in saying Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara is a creator of ages. His life contributions in the 19th century has indeed not only transforms 20th and 21st centuries, but I'm sure it will continue to transform for so many generations. I laud the Department of the School of Law for having this wonderful lecture series on the 150th anniversary of Kuriakose, this beloved saint and our founder, Saint Kuriakose. I consider this as a very blessing and privilege. And today we have a very beautiful topic, especially as in the field of academics and in higher education. We are all doing or living this legacy. That means the very purpose of education itself is personal as well as social transformation. And when I look back and reflect to the contributions of Saint Kuriakose in general, specifically in the field of education, I think he has the very specific focus of social transformation. Most of the time, in our case, we try to change or form students, and that maybe that would be the end or the objective of many of us for their career, for their personal fulfillment and development. And in turn, it realizes in the social transformation. But in the case of Kuriakose Elias Chavara, I would say that his prime purpose was social transformation. Especially, it would become all the more significant in that historical context of 19th century, where casteism, discrimination, poverty, all these were the order of the day. And he has been one of the big contributor in terms of the renaissance of larger Indian context, specifically in the Kerala Reformation and Renaissance. So I'm sure Father Joseph is the right person who has a keen interest in the history and also specifically in the contributions and the person of Saint Kuriakose. We have the right person to enlighten all of us in this regard. So I welcome is not only the director of research and holding other personal officer and other. He's also a good friend of mine. We share a very warm friendship. So I'm very happy to invite him and welcome him. Let us all be inspired by the person and the legacy of Kuriakose, this beloved saint, our founder, being a Christites. Most of you, we are all part of the extended family of CMI community. So I think being inspired by him and to be part of this personal and social transformation through the education we are all we are all privileged to have from the university. I give it to I hand my I give it to Father Joseph to continue. So thank you
No,
very
we
much,
have
Yasimina.
Sandhya to introduce Father. She's come back. So we have Sandhya to introduce Father. So all the students will know. Yes. Sandhya, we cannot hear you. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Is it audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are.
I'm so sorry about technical issues. Let there be no day in your life in which you did no good to others. A beautiful saying by Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara. With that note, a pleasant afternoon to one and all present here. I am Sandhya Balaji on behalf of the entire School of Law. Welcome all of you to the second lecture of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara lecture series. Jan 3rd is celebrated as the Founders' Day in reverence to our founder Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara. Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara was a devout Christian clergy who did what many people together cannot achieve even during the course of many centuries. He led an extraordinary life of holiness and committed action for the transformation of the society. Saint Chavara was a visionary leader of the time who envisaged many plans for the spiritual and social progress of church and society. His educational contributions laid a strong foundation for a just society in which all humans were being worthy of erudition, justice, respect, and dignity. Saint Chavara was a self made scholar, contrary to the common practice of the time. He not only equipped himself with higher learning, but enriched a group as well as society in turn from his knowledge and experience. In a word, it can be rightly summarized that he was an excellent educator who aspired and worked for excellence. He was a trendsetter of that time. As a gesture of reverence and to inspire the present generation of young adults to discover the greatness of Saint Chavara, the School of Law, Christ University, Pune Lavasa has initiated this law lecture series. The objective of the law lecture series is to invite leaders from different walks of life who have contributed to the transformation of the society around us. Now, without further ado, I request our Student Bar Association member, Ms. Lavanya Gar, to kindly introduce our chief guest for today, Reverend Father Dr. Joseph Varghese. Thank you.
Good morning to everyone present. Apologies for the technical issues. I hope the effect has gone better down. It's just the pandemic and the issues right now. But I take immense pleasure in introducing Father, and greetings to everyone present here today. So Reverend Father Dr. Joseph Varghese is an adept academician and a comprehensive and boundless researcher, as we have heard. So he holds PhD from Manomaniyam Sundarana University, and he did his Bachelor of Philosophy and Bachelor of Theology from Dharmaram Vidya Kshetram. He further pursued his BSc from Bharati Dasan University and did his MA and MSc from the University of Madras. He has written and published numerous articles in various periodicals that divulge into the distinctive practices of mathematics, philosophy, and religion. He has also written a collective of 8 books, various journals, and blogs, in turn empowering us with knowledge that we didn't know we needed. Another notable work of his is the research project on the validation of deep learning technology and algorithms in training systems for analyzing medical diagnostic images. These are just one of the various distinctive works that Father has thrown us with. He has also been a part of various seminars, conferences, and symposiums. These are all that we could fit in this short introduction, but there are many more. And currently, he is the personnel officer, research director, and professor of mathematics in the Central Campus. It is our privilege to have you with us today, Father. Over to you.
Thank you. I must get the privilege to show this presentation. Can I have that?
Vishak, we'll have to transfer the rights to Father, please. IT department.
Yes, Father, already given. Can you check?
Share, I'm okay. Let me check that. Share my video. I'm sorry, I'm unable to share the screen. Could the IT team help me?
Vishak, could you please help Father?
Yes, Father, I made you already co-host. I think in the bottom side you can see now share screen option.
Yeah, that's done. Are you seeing the screen?
Yes, Father.
Yeah. My
Yes, Father, we
brothers,
can see the screen.
thank you. My brothers Arun and Father Josie, Dr. Daisy, Alexander, Amrita, Mehak, distinguished colleagues of Christ University Lavasa campus, my beloved students. It's an honor to speak to you, especially on the topic which is very close to my heart in many counts. The topic that was assigned to me is Kuriakose Elias Chavara's contribution to society for social transformation. I must begin with this note. If I am in this level to talk to you, it's only because of Kuriakose Elias Chavara. I come from a very remote village in the southern state of Kerala, where this saint, in his younger age, came and established a monastery, and later those monastery occupants started a school, and I did my studies there. And if not, there are several hundreds of villages where, in fact, in his lifetime, he established only 7 monasteries, and all the monasteries had schools associated with that. If I were born in a different village, I don't think I would have been in a position to come here. And the same case with Father Arun as well. He's coming from a place where Kuriakose Elias Chavara established a monastery, a place called Hon'ble. So that itself is the witness of that it's a testimony that what social transformation he has brought in, or his works had brought in. On this note, it's a great initiative by the School of Law, Christ University, Pune Lavasa campus to host this lecture series. I'm blessed to be part of this. I thank you once again all the organizers and the patient listening you would be giving me. If you look at social transformation, there are many definitions or many concepts that are associated with that. You were listening to Father Joe's lectures yesterday. If you count all the different activities of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara, we can summarize the whole thing in, if you just look at the modern world as well as those world. If you from this particular looking glass, if you're looking at, you can summarize the whole thing in a page, the activities, whatever. But each of them is something like a seed that was sown 150 years or 160 years ago, which were grown into larger trees or larger forests, if not. So if you look at that way, Father Joseph had given a glimpse, an eye of every activity Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara was involved in. So I would be extending some of those specific contributions in connection with the modern day thoughts as far as social transformation is concerned. Keeping that in mind, if you look at one of these definitions, social transformation means the restructuring of all aspects of life, from culture to social relations, from politics to economy, from the way we think to the way we live. This focus is the predominant thinking when I have my thought about my own spiritual father, or the founder, or the initiator, who is the very reason why all of us are here. And we are also, each one of you who is listening to this is part of this large family, because he has initiated, he has sown that seed of great knowledge, a large tree in the 19th century. And we become, with the chance, because of that, the blessings of God, we all become part of that. So this is, in fact, the 3 points, if you look at all aspects of life, from culture to social relations, we are able to connect with each other. We are developing our own culture. We have developed our culture. Politics to economy. Several of our social status, political status, economical status became robust due to the seminal contributions given by Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara. The way we think and the way we live, he has initiated some of the activities, especially starting of a printing press, starting of a school, writing poems, long letters, chronicles. Many of these things help each one of us, directly or indirectly. Those who are read it, the way we think is changed, and the way we live is changed. Those who are not read it, those who are hearing us, teachers as well as the administrators here, the priests, we are taking that legacy from Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara, from his works, his activities, his philosophy, his theology, his outlook to life. We are trying to imbibe that, and then you are the recipients of it, and you transfer that. It's become a cycle of, a chain of reactions. It is transferred from something like, any of the chain reactions. You would be transferring, the information would be transferred to each one of you. Therefore, as a whole, if you're looking at the transformation that has been effected by the life and activities of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara, has brought out seminal changes in the culture, particularly in the locality where he was living in the 19th century, later even in the 21st century, all over the world, where each one of us priests who are working, or each one of the alumni who is working, who were trained in any of the institutions established or any of the institutions established by directly or indirectly by St. Kuriakose Elias Chavara. And for that matter, Christ University Lavasa campus is not an exception. According to Galbraith, I quote, history, the true relevant source of change, will not be reversed. We cannot undo the things what were happening. We sometimes try to imitate or redo the things. However, we cannot reverse the thing that were happening. So having taken as a context that is already done with in the 19th century, given the background what he had, given the existential situation what he was going through, the troubles he was facing, the challenges he faced, ventured into activities that were never thought about, has made the history and created the history and creating histories for each one of us and changed the course of action of, as Father Arun was mentioning, primarily the locality where he was living, certain probably 30 or 40 villages that he was directly involved in. Now it's spanning to all the 200 countries all over the world, because CMI priests who are directly the descendants of St. Kuriakose Elias Chavara is working in almost all continents of the world in various fields, starting from primary education to top-notch, highly relevant research, even including brain research, from social work to economic field, writers and poets, and all different areas. The institutions have produced hundreds of thousands of economists, lawyers, social reformers, managers, and teachers that are continuously transforming the society. Therefore, the irreversible history that is created and that is being created by St. Kuriakose Elias Chavara, directly and indirectly, now reaping benefits, throwing good benefits to all over the world. What are some of the methods of social transformation? If you look at social transformation as a whole, as a philosophical branch or a sociological branch, social transformation can be effected through ideas, institutions, and training. St. Kuriakose Elias Chavara was a strong believer of all these. He had strong ideas which none of his fellow travelers, people of his own society, people of the same era could think about. He had ventured into establishing institutions that were unthinkable of those times. The training he had given, even at a very young age, he was born in 1805. 1829, he completed his training and became a priest. 1829 onwards, he became a trainer of the future trainers. Initially the priests and later other people around. 1831, he established the first monastery, and 1833, he established the first training house for priests, formal training house for priests. The ideas he spread, especially during the first 25 years, were the foundation stones, were the founding spirit of every priest who passed out from the seminaries of Kerala, who later became pillars of social transformation all over India. The institutions what he created, if you name it, it may be we can count on fingers. 7 monasteries, couple of schools, a printing press, and some social institutions. But they were pioneering institutions as far as the whole India is concerned. When No government was established. Only English East India Company was there. And some of the kingdoms were there. Most of them, of course, directly or indirectly supporting the people, but predominantly they were focused on their own well-being. A social reformer in the form of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara selflessly went ahead with establishing institutions, even at the cost of poverty, famine, even at the cost of losing reputation, even at the cost of sacrificing food by the same community, because he had to spend that for the institutions, press, and other activities. He had to pay for the school teachers who were actually appointed. And the training houses, the training he imparted in first 25 years. And later, from 1855 onwards, what he has been as the leader of all these. Initially, for the first 25 years, he was not directly appointed as a leader, but he was moving around and doing the works, including the preaching, as well as establishing institution. Whereas in 1855, he became the director, the so-called director. In technical language, is known as the prayer of the monasteries. And then he had a very strong role in playing a social change factor. In 1861, he became one of the close associates of the so-called bishop in the name of Vicar General of the diocese. And that was the opportune moment he was waiting for. He came out with inspiring letters. He came out with inspiring decisions that has changed the course of history of the entire continent, entire country. Some of the things I would mention later. So these three ways, in fact, through ideas, institutions, and training, we can also make change in the world. We are being trained. We are part of institutions. We are in the form of developing our own ideas. Let us always look at how our ideas are going to change the world. We should have the courage to come with better ideas that can have a serious impact on the well-being of human beings, improving the well-being of human beings, establishing peace in this world, especially people who are trained in school of law. As all of us know, lawyers are the people who are ruling the whole world. In Indian situation, and their politics is managed by mostly lawyers. MLAs, MPs, they are also known as lawmakers. So as members of legal community, future lawyers, as well as the teachers here, you have very strong role to play in creating ideas, spreading ideas, disseminating ideas that are going to have a crucial role in the coming decades. And of course, the entire millennium. You can establish institutions. All of us are very good at studying in institutions, getting benefits out of that, and going and again working in some institutions. Are we in a position to establish institutions? I give you some examples later where people who got the merit advantages of institutions came out and established multiple institutions and then created well-being all over the world. Training what you received. You are really, really blessed to have been trained by people like Dr. Daisy and others. And Father Josie and Father Arun, I know very well how we are all together for several years, how careful they are as far as imparting good training is concerned. And the well-dedicated staff members of Christ Lavasa too. Can you transfer this training what you received to train other people? Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara became a trainer of trainers, trainer of priests and other leaders of that time. Then they went back to villages and places and they trained others. Now at present, you are supposed to be professionals, but can you become trainers? Can you not take up the responsibility of training other people? Some of you come back to teaching here. Some of you, while being employed or practicing your legal education, legal job, legal profession, can you impart good training to your youngsters as well as who are associated with, then the legacy of St. Kuriakose Elias Chavara would be continued through us. The methods of social transformation is and only would be established through ideas, good ideas, institutions, very good institutions, training, a properly planned training. Social inclusion and social transformation, protecting the environment, are the two major components of social transformation as far as UNESCO is concerned. A development is a sustainable development only if there is social inclusion. And a development is a sustainable development only if this social transformation is through the protection of the environment. If you look at the life history of St. Kuriakose Elias Chavara, he was a front runner in establishing the equilibrium in the society, social inclusion. With all the records what we have, he had never ever excluded any person who is actually in need of help. Whether it is school, whether it is press, whether it is the seminary or training, he was all for including everybody. There are several cases where there could have been issues of religious fights, social fights. Even in the very beginning of establishment of the monastery in 1831, there was emerged a particular tension between two religious groups. A third religion, as all of us see now, came into protection of St. Kuriakose, but he said, no, nothing doing. If one group of people are not interested in, we will never establish our monastery there. We move out. We came, and then that is the reason why the first monastery was not in the original planned place he had established. He had to move out from that place and he had to come in a different place. Protecting the environment. It's interesting to note, anybody who has visited Lavasa campus or Christ University Central campus, any of the Christ University campuses or CMI institutions, you would see the environment-friendly approach there. We all derive this spirit from our founder, St. Kuriakose Elias Chavara. When he established monastery, he had three clear focuses. It should be completely supportive of the environment, that water, road, and fresh air. These were the three requirements what we had, as far as anybody who is living in a good environment would be in a position to continue the work he is supposed to, the ministry is supposed to take up. And this has been extended to several decades, even in this century too. When Bishop John has started establishing Dharmaram College, which is the front runner or the precursor of Christ institutions all over the country, one of the major requirements was the place should be environment friendly, and place continue to be environment friendly also. Look at the number of environmental activities we have in the central campus as well as in Lavasa campus there. You can definitely voice that we also must go with protecting environment as far as our future is concerned. All of future would definitely depend on these two aspects. The sustainable development would be a real sustainable development only if social inclusion, catering to every walk of life, people of every walk of life, supporting people of every, I do not want to name them, but you know very well, every people of every walk of life you need to include in your developmental plan. Never ever do anything against the protection of environment. You should be the front runners of protecting environment. Every activity that we have in this campus, you have there in that campus as well as in the form of Green Army, CSA, and other relevant activities are always catering to this particular need promulgated by UNESCO. That is, social transformation has two undeniable factors: social inclusion as well as protecting the environment. St. Kuriakose Elias Chavara, as a leading light, who has been a front runner of precursor of all the inclusion, social inclusion activities. Women empowerment, supporting the elderly, supporting the sick, and supporting the environment continue to be our guiding spirit even now. What are the channels of social transformation? Many people, many philosophers come with many different ideas of us recognizing as channels of social transformation. I give you 6 factors. Each of these factors clearly identifies us whether our work in the social transformation process is correct or not. We can directly or indirectly, this is the modern understanding, but we can directly or indirectly, not because of he has studied sociology that he has worked in, but when we evaluate some of the activities of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara, we can see these magnified. Physical environment, development of the physical environment, demographic factor, equality, equity, and inclusion. Cultural factor, again, supporting religions, supporting plurality, helping each other, involving activities such as that even a person who is having socially excluded situation should come up in life and get educated. Ideational factors, printing presses, social media, newspapers, magazines. Economic factor, there were several schemes evolved by Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara, primarily to support people who were interested in studying. One of the most famous schemes is noon meal scheme. He had arranged microfinancing system. The so-called, the modern time is microfinancing system. Through the villages, as well as people are known to him, collect small amount of money, pull it together and support people who are economically in a lower situation, in a disabled situation to come for studies. Political factor. He had a very strong connection with the political setup those days, especially the King of Travancore. And due to that, he used that in an effective manner. As all of us know, or must be heard of, in 1850s, entire country, all of India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, all put together, hardly there were 50 printing presses. And if such a local location in Kerala, there were only 2 printing presses. And he was not fortunate enough to see some of the printing, those 2 printing presses. He was not in a position to move. However, because of the political support what he has received, he could go to King of Travancore and see the printing press there, came back and established in 1840s the first printing press of that sort, mainly for secular printing, not for spiritual printing alone. The other printing press were the governmental press was purely for the activities, the reports of the government. The second one was for proclamation or the evangelical requirements by another a group of people near to his place, and where he established a printing press through the political connections as well as evolving the society in a better way, printing good books. Later in one of the times, I would be mentioning that once again, he has written in his message to his own countrymen that reading good books is one of the most important character formation you can give to children. He has, as all of us know, a pioneer of educational activities in southern India, specifically in Kerala. What are the purposes of education? It is the most powerful instrument of social change and control. He had directed, as I was mentioning, 1861, he was appointed the Vicar General. 10 years, directly or indirectly, was in charge of the whole of church in Kerala. He had sense circulates, interestingly, not sometimes becoming of a saint, threatening circulates to every church that if the church is not establishing a school, if the church is not establishing a school that supports everybody, they may face closure. He knew very well that the most powerful instrument of social change and control is education. Only through knowledge, only through knowledge sharing, only through knowledge dissemination, people can develop. This is situation in 19th century, not 21st century. Education can remove ignorance and narrow-mindedness of human mind and infuse new ideas, new light, and new direction for change and development. These are general ideas for us. The purpose of education is concerned. Now, as students of law and various other disciplines, teachers of law and various other disciplines, as administrators, are we focusing on this purpose? Are we there to remove the ignorance and narrow-mindedness of human mind? Are we ourselves with gross amount of ignorance and then peculiar narrow-mindedness? Are we welcoming new ideas, new light, and new direction for change and development? If as an institution, as students of these institutions, as teachers of an institution, if we do not focus on these things, the very purpose of education is defeated. The very far-sighting works of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara would be failing. Let us all work together to remove the ignorance and narrow-mindedness of human being, whether it is in the form of any of the separating factors, including religion, caste, creed, economic background, or societal background, and infuse new ideas, better ideas, creative ideas that is going to shed new light and new direction for a change of the society and sustainable development. Education can dispel the darkness of ignorance, indifference, and inactivity of human mind and develop new hope and aspiration. When we go out of this steps of this university, when we become lawyers, are we focusing only on money or fame and power? Can you think about spending some part of our assets, some part of our talents to involve in dispelling darkness of ignorance? We need, as citizens of India, we are supposed to be involved in this because we are a privileged group which is part of less than 25% of the country who are able to go to the doors of, pass through the doors of higher education institutions. We can remove the indifference and inactivity of human mind and develop new hope and inspiration among the people we are involved in. Lavasa experiments of education is a very clear example. When nobody was willing to come for higher education, even some people who came there who left the place under the able leadership of initially Father Josie, later Father Arun, and several scholars. Best examples are the people who are teaching you, shedding their own personal interest, setting it apart. All of you, you know very well, your teachers could have been working anywhere in the country. They are all excellent people. Why they've chosen Lavasa campus? Why they do the experiments of higher education in Lavasa campus? You must appreciate them. And this is a spirit you need to also have. When every environmental support system is available there, huge malls and social activities are there, anybody can go and study there. But when there are lack of facilities, generally lack of access, and there are situations that are challenging us, especially even including climatic situation. Are we in a position to work towards that? This training in Lavasa definitely would help you to be resilient to all different challenges of, or to work against all different threats of human existence. Wherever you go, this experiment, now it's online, when you come to the campus too, it would help you to survive in any situation. Education plays a very important role in molding the character of an individual. And that is what is the ethos of Christ University. We believe in holistic education. This was not a new thing. We all imbibe it from our founders in Kuriakose Elias Chavara. Social change refers to an alteration in the social order of the society. Why this many number of people come out of a tiny state of Kerala for involving in higher education? It's a clear example for social change that has been beckoned by the activities of St. Kuriakose Elias Chavara. Once he wrote, a person not educated is a person, sorry for the typos, is a person with knowledge blindness. It's very interesting. A person not educated is a person with knowledge blindness. It's the first time someone who uses its original term from Sanskrit that again used in his mother tongue, this particular use. Very interesting thing. All of us are, we feel that our eyes, our sight, our vision is through our eyes. No, there is a third eye, there is a fourth eye, there is a fifth eye we can have through proper education. Understanding clearly all the thing what we have mentioned earlier. Kuriakose Elias Chavara was very clearly articulating what kind of vision you need to have. You should have education, you should have proper education, only then you would be getting rid of this knowledge blindness. He has once mentioned, wrote to the children or the parents, and he's mentioned, keeping bad books is like keeping fire in hay. Read good books that would develop people. And he was an ardent reader of books. In fact, that was the reason why he established a press. He wrote on his own several books, and he helped other people write books so that people do not be deprived of the privilege to read good books. He was translating many of the books, helped the people to translate books, and initially he translated several books from those days, Tamil. And interestingly, he was actually, even at his deathbed, when he was in his late 60s, he was learning a new language called Italian so that he could translate some of the books from Italian to his mother tongue. He had several challenging steps he had taken. While he was almost bedridden last 6 years, with a severe, he was actually a waterlogged area. Last 10 years, he was living in one area where in which very limited traveling facilities were there. But from there, he was spreading his charisma to all over the place he earlier traveled. He permitted people from different walks of life, as students as well as educators. In his classroom, when he established a school in 1846, that's the best model for social transformation or social experiment. The modern day social, even now, I do not know, many of the villages in India, is there a possibility of people from 3 or 4 different castes come and sit there and have education? He experimented that. In 19th century, it was a caste-ridden society in India, especially the Kerala community. Even Swami Vivekananda in the early 20th century once mentioned, because of the caste-ridden mentality, he lamented the people or the entire state as a state of equated to lunatic asylum. So in such a situation, 60 years prior to that, he established a school where in which it was educated by the so-called high caste person, people from different ages, people from different religion, people from different castes were sitting in the same classroom under the same roof. As educators and students, he welcomed people from all backgrounds. Education is a concrete source from which one gets information and knowledge, and either directly through the education as well as through the printing works, he has done that. All of us are familiar with Indian Institute of Science, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, and Tata Institute of Social Sciences. Who established this? It's not by government. It's by a private person or a private company, the Tata Group, Jamshedji Tata. It's all, after several decades, became prestigious institutions of this country. When all over the world, when it was established, nobody thought that it is going to be, and nobody wanted that also. Why on earth an industrial is starting an institution called Tata Institute? It is in Bangalore, of fundamental research as well as social science research. Nobody thought that was a relevant thing. It is a waste of money. Now look at in India in higher education is somewhere. It is only because of these institutions. Look at the Christ institutions. We started as a very small college catering to higher secondary education in 1969. Look at the 5 campuses and people, each one of you, from where, how you got this information, that if you come to Christ, you will get quality. It is all because of the visionary initial experiments of Kuriakose Elias Chavara. I sometimes try to compare Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara with a person who lived little after that. One of the most inspiring personalities of Maharashtra, Savitribai Phule. There are some similarity between both of the people. She was born in 1831, died in 1897. She just lived only 66 years. Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara also lived only 66 years. She was born on 3rd of January. Saint Kuriakose Elias died on 3rd of January. Both are excellent educators in many respects. She taught children from different castes and had opened a total of 18 schools in her lifetime. A small school for different castes and creed in 1846 is extended to 2 lakh students now all over the country, all over the world, run by CMI institutions. He established close to 6 schools. Now it's 1,000 schools all over the world, which is managed by his descendants. He decided of banning priests who are not involved in education. He promulgated circular to sell church properties, including the so-called venerable crosses, golden cross and silver crosses. Sell it and buy properties, desk and bench, or noon meals for the children who are coming for education. Where on earth we can find such huge impetus for social transformation that was effected by? Priests were banned for, he was threatening, would be banned for not involving in education and sell the church properties for establishing schools along with each of the churches. He was sailing through the uncharted waters, same as Tata, same as Savitribai Phule, and many other people. No direction was there, no charted, no roads were set for him. He, on his own, like a dreamer, he went ahead. And now we are here only because of his situation. Education in India had several ups and downs. You remember about Takshila, Nalanda, and many other institutions. All were faith-based institutions, either for religion, Hinduism, or Buddhism, or Jainism. Some areas where mathematics and logic were taught, but mainly for entertainment, not for engineering or other thing. Literature was there, but it was never taught in an institution. Higher education in India had took huge turn in 19th century, especially to support the East India Company activities by Wilberforce, Charles Grant, Bendick, and Macaulay. around this time, 1846, when these people were effecting changes, of course, that was a particular purpose, but for the emancipation of human being, he came with the idea of establishing school in 1840s. Literacy rate of several states in India went up only thanks to the initiatives of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara. Levels of higher education in India coming from primary, secondary, and tertiary. Schools, technical schools, colleges, law, medical, and engineering schools were established by the successors of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara. In fact, he could establish only a school, but he was dreaming of starting a college in his own native place. In those days, a central college, he used to tell, because there was a school, there was a famous college called CMS College in Kottayam, and he wanted to establish a college. By the time, fortunately and unfortunately, he got transferred and he went to another place, and then he could not do anything for establishment of college. But look at the situation now. Several law colleges, a medical college, university, engineering college, technical schools, and almost 1,000 schools were established by, and 2 lakh students are studying in this institution currently. 1857 was the establishment of, almost at the time of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara. That was the time he was thinking about starting a college. 3 universities were established. First 3 universities came in Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. And we have to wait for several decades to have seen a university, Christ University. Now we are in 5 different locations. Some point at time, who knows, there will be a Lavasa University, an independent university established by Father Arun and Father Josie and Dr. Daisy and others. Who are the real transformers? Authors, poets, promoters, and creators. Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara was an author, poet, promoter of writing, knowledge, and justice. He was a creator of knowledge. Each one of us who is getting educated in this institution, which is in fact established by the successors of the descendants of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara, is some or other way welcome to become an author, established author, poet, promoter, and creator. As the person who introduced me was mentioning, he has written once, you should not go to bed without doing a right thing. I would say even now, you should not go to bed without reading a good article. And that is the way in which we need to change the face. Without proper education, we become knowledge blind. Knowledge should be without boundaries. Something like light, air, and water. They are natural resources. Each one of us should think in such a way that there should be an education, the space of education as a natural resource. Food for brain first and food for body later. That should be our motto. All CMI priests were mandated to have collegiate education some time ago. That is the reason by now you can see we are insisting that all the faculty members should have PhD and research. Care for elders and women were some of the most important activities of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara. And we do have in our institutions the care for elders and women. If not, please help us to improve our system. Home for the elderly and society where women were the first established in India by Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara. For the social, spiritual, and intellectual, along with the technological transformation, we need to now move. If we can establish a printing press in 1846, if we can start a technical Sanskrit school in 1846, because our today is by the activities of yesterday, tomorrow should be the activities of yesterday and today. We must establish a great research institute in 2021. We must establish Lavasa, and it's you're on the way, analytic hubs and artificial intelligence centers in 2021. And all over the probably state of Maharashtra, you should establish legal aid centers so that people would be transformed through proper social transformation. Thank you very much.
Sandhya, we cannot hear you. Please unmute yourself. Sandhya, unmute yourself, please. Requesting Christine to give to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon. It's a privilege to propose a vote of thanks today. On behalf of the School of Law, Lavasa, Christ deemed to be university, I express my gratitude to the Research Director, Reverend Father Dr. Joseph Vargas, for giving us a better understanding of Saint Kuriakose Elias Chavara's contribution to society in the field of education. Thank you, Father. Permit me to mention our sincere appreciation to our Director, Father Josie George, and our Academic Coordinator, Father Arun Anthony. I am grateful to Dr. Daisy Alexander, our Head of Department. I would also like to thank the staff members and the IT department in regards to the broadcast preparation. Also thank the students for their cooperation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Father. That was wonderful. We look forward to you. And let me tell you, it was a great honor and privilege to get Father from his busy schedule, because Father takes care of the research center. Father is very particular about research, and it is Father's initiative that today we have reached this 1,000+ articles in the Scopus and other journals, other related journals. So if anybody is doing PhD, Amrita knows it very well. And Christine is a new member in our family, the English professor. So even she is looking forward to do a PhD. So whoever is going to do a PhD, even otherwise, would meet Father Dr. Joseph's expertise. He is simply an expert in research, and he really encourages every other faculty to read and write profusely. Thank you very much, Father, for your time and to be with us. And please bless us. Thank you.
Can I leave
Father,
my...
we cannot, now we can hear you.